everyone. Welcome. Hey. Good to see everyone. Let's see who's around. Good morning, Caitlin and Mitch, love, and Lori and Danielle. Let's see who else is here. So good to see everyone. Let's get this party rolling. Hey, Lori. Hey,
Hi
Danielle.
there.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. For us, it's almost night, but good morning to you.
well, good to have you here, my friend. Such a
Yes,
crazy day. Such a
yes,
crazy
yes.
day today. But we're very excited for today's conversation. I think this subject matter is touching all of us. Let's get this room going. What I'm gonna do? Hey everyone, so good to see everyone. I see Divina's here, and I see Crazy Ape Lady's here, and Caitlin is here, and Lori and Mitch, my love, is here, and Violent, and wow, so many amazing people are coming in. Keep on pouring in. I see also V friends just joined. I'm so happy to see everyone. So you guys, we're gonna have an amazing conversation. We have some amazing guests list today. People that I love so much and are welcome to come on stage and join us to the conversation. We're gonna talk a little bit about time management. It is a subject that is very dear to my heart and to many of us for sure. We're all multitasking in this space, and we're going to talk about it in just a few. What I would ask you guys to do, if you want, you can. There's a little arrow on the top. You can invite some friends to the conversation or share these rooms so we can get rolling and going. I know there are a lot of big rooms today talking about all the crazy things that are going on in this space as of today. It's been a wild night, a wild few days for all of us. But we're still here, we're still alive, we still feel good, we still have our bags, and they're going to change. Everything's going to change. The drop is a good thing. It's very healthy for the ecosystem. We're going through a good phase, you guys. I'm telling you, we're going through a good phase. So I want, yeah,
100%.
right, Danielle.
Yeah. Agree.
I agree as
I
well.
agree.
Should,
I think
shouldn't you be in the
it's an
hospital?
opportunity.
Shouldn't you be having
Sorry.
a baby right now, girl? What's happening? What the hell are you doing here?
I'm having a baby tomorrow. It's all scheduled.
Yeah.
Everything is on
So
schedule.
the kid knows better than to come early.
He
How
better
are you,
not
my
come
love?
early. Yeah, no, he's not coming early. He's coming. I'm gonna bring him tomorrow. He's too comfortable inside, and he's just not moving. Well, he's moving a lot, but he's not finding the way out. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna host this space. I'm gonna have this extra cool day with all my friends here and family on stage, and then I'm gonna get you out. That's it. So tomorrow I'm gonna mint my little boy, for those who don't know. And that's why we're here to talk about time management, which is such a dear subject to my heart, and to so many people's hearts. And I want to get started by, you know, by talking a little bit about, how crazy it is the Web3 space, that there are so many changes that happening all the time, and like literally every day in this space is like a month in the real world, right? It's like, look what's happening around us today. The market that we see today is not the market that we saw 2 or 3 weeks ago. I mean, projects that have been skyrocketing, like a few weeks ago, went down. I mean, and there are loads of changes that happening all the time. Now imagine a pregnant lady. Imagine, raising a 2 years old, running a company on the back, building a nonprofit while hosting spaces, communities, advisory on different projects. Like it's a crazy journey, and that's my life. That's how it looks like, but it's not only mine. So many of us, have the same kind of, I don't have to call it a problem. It's a good problem, because being busy, it's not something bad. um hey David, I see you, my friend. I'm getting you up. But at the end of the day, we have to understand how to manage those major tasks that we have on the daily base, and how do we actually manage our time. So we have today amazing guests. Welcome, David. Welcome, Swan, my
Hey, hey,
partners in
hey.
crime. Hey,
What's
good to
going
have you
on?
here. All
It,
good, all good. You driving?
Yeah, I mean, like just like you were just describing, it's flying from city to city, doing this, doing that, without boring you with the details. But let me just remind the audience about the super mom that you're hearing right now and the Wonder Woman that's hosting this room, who I don't know if you broke the joke, but you cracked it yesterday, who's about to mint a brand new one of one into the IRL world. That's an incredible. I can't take credit for that because Tal wrote that, but I had to put it out there. So kudos to you, Supermom. Love you, Swan. What's up?
Thank you, thank you, thank you, David. Yeah, I'm gonna mint my little rare piece tomorrow. There's no floor price. Marketplace is my home. No one can purchase that one. But yeah, I can't wait to see the traits, the reveal. I'm really curious about this reveal that's gonna happen. Probably, probably on
That's
Thursday.
hilarious.
I mean, I saw the before the reveal, with the ultrasound, but now I can't wait to see the reveal, and I'm excited. I'm excited. I think I'm getting excited today. I think till now I was literally multitasking like all of us, and I didn't even, I don't think I put enough efforts on being excited for the coming baby because I was so multitasking, and now I'm getting excited, and tomorrow it's the really big day. So yeah, so thank you, and I see so many amazing people on stage. I know that some wants to also come up. I see a lot of requests as well. We're gonna try to get everyone on stage, but I do want to jump into the convo that we're talking about. Some of us running multiple NFT projects, some of us maintaining an active community, some of us, have families at home. They're running a family. Their family. It could be a business, yeah. But they have a family. They have kids to raise. They have spouse at home. So there are a lot of things going on, and I have some of the biggest beautiful projects, names, and people on that stage. I would like to do like kind of an introduction a little bit for those who are on stage, but I think I'm gonna go like one on one. First of all, I see Dented is here. One of my favorite projects. If you guys don't know, it's the dentist field. I mean, dented fields is one of my favorite projects in the planet. Dented Fields has an amazing NFT project with collections of emotions and beautiful art that was created by Dentin himself. And one of my favorite people also, Paulo, that is with his team. And there are two inspiring individuals, and they're fathers as well, and hard workers. Dented, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, amazing for having you here. I mean, we all know about the project, we heard, we saw, but I would like to go to to the person behind it, to Dentin himself, to you. I know that you're a father, you're a husband, you're an artist, you're creating all the time, you manage a huge community, beautiful, built and an amazing project. How do you actually balance all this? Like, I know that you're doing so many things at once. I know that you guys have so many ideas for the project for the future as well. Maybe tell us a little bit about, do you think it's really possible to time manage all this, or how do you take that?
Yeah, definitely still adjusting to the change. I think the space moves at like a mile a minute, so you kind of have to roll with the flow. I mean, I'm not necessarily the best time manager. I'm definitely somebody who moves on intuition and just kind of passion. And when I kind of have to and want to do, I just dive all in. But if it wasn't for my support team around me, my wife, my daughter, my team, none of this would be possible. So I really think that having a team that you trust that can handle their specialized tasks is key for all of this. And I think it's kind of, for me personally, I always lead with that passion and interest to make sure that what the most thing that calls me most that day, I put first, and then keep a clear task of things on the board. I recently got a whiteboard in my office that I can write all my stuff down, kind of keep it more in my face, because there are just 1,000 things to do every single day. So being able to really kind of stay on top of the most important things and letting the rest just kind of come as it comes, I think is key as well.
So you're working with a board on your, like, in front of you with some tasks on it. Is that true? That's
Yes,
what you
yeah, I
said?
have a whiteboard now on the wall across from me that I like to use now.
I think, I think that if you're mentioning this, it's one of the most important things that leading me when I try to prioritize tasks and manage my time is really work with a list. It could be on a board. I'd also have a board in front of me, and I also have a list of tasks on my table. So that's like a little tip that I can bring, and just like you said, creating task list for the day after helps you manage your time much better, because then I wake up and I have no brain. I don't remember anything. If I don't write it down, I don't remember to do. So I think that is very crucial what you said now, because creating task lists, a lot of people are not creating task lists, people that I know, and they're kind of losing track, or they're disorganized. And I think that a task list is one of the most important things when it comes to prioritize your accomplishments and prioritize your the things that you want to do. So it is important. It's also important to, each time when you are accomplishing a task, to delete it, to mark it as deleted. And when you have those little accomplishments every day, then you know that your tasks are done. And it's also very, very good for your mental health when you know you're accomplishing little tasks every day. So I love that you shared. Denton Fenzo, welcome to the stage as well. Always good to see you, my friend. Lori's here. Caitlin, what's up? Good morning, girl.
Good morning. How's that baby doing?
Which one? The one outside or the one inside?
Both. Both
So,
babies. I know the one on the inside is getting ready to come out tomorrow. That's so exciting.
yes, it's gonna pop out tomorrow. I'm very excited for it. And by the way, guys, if you don't know Caitlin, she's a photographer for more than 15 years. She's done events and films and television, and she's working with celebrities and with the music industry. And at the same time, she's a mom, and she's amazing. She's involved in photo and film communities on the Web3, and she's doing everything together with raising two boys, right? You have two boys?
I have two boys, a 6-year-old boy and a 2-year-old. And I wanted to talk about, for a
Sure.
second, just going back to task lists, because I will tell you that that is the only way that I can accomplish anything. I'm an obsessive list maker. I make so many lists and I organize them into columns and prioritize them. But the thing about me is I can only do it if I write it out with with a pen on paper. I can't use a list that's typed, and I don't use a calendar in my phone. I actually have like a physical like binder and actual physical agenda, and it's the only way that works for me. So I might be a little bit old fashioned in that way, but I find that if I write it out and actually force myself to write it and then cross it out when it's complete, it's the most effective method of organization for me.
And how do you manage, raising? I know your kids are 6 and 9, I think, right?
6 and 2.
6 and 2. Oh, you have 6 and 2. Oh my God, I'm so wow, two. It's a lot of work. I know. I have at home a
Yeah,
two,
yeah.
so I know the feeling. And how do you manage, doing all those things while raising two kids? That's a lot of work.
I think it's there's no real answer to it, and I think every day is different. Like for me, I have all of their activities scheduled. I know, exactly for my older one, he has school luckily, so he's at school during the day, but all of his sports and everything I have listed out on a calendar. I have magnets, I have times and schedules. I think the trick for me is to never have to go looking for information. I always try to put all the information I think I'm going to need right in front of me when I go to see it. So times, addresses, everything for all of his, sports and activities, lessons. But honestly, there are days when, I have to get him from school and I'm like deep in the middle of a really important task, and obviously my kids come first. So I can get it's easy to get distracted, and I find that sometimes I just jump from task to task, and just sort of like what Denton said, it's like you don't necessarily get to decide what your next task is going to be. It's sort of whichever one comes up and presents itself as being the most important one at that moment. I don't ever feel like I'm in control of the situation, though. I'll say that much.
Got it. Yeah, it happens, and it's legit. It's okay. We're all humans, and it happens. We have a lot of things. I'm just curious, how do you like manage time? How do you prioritize when you have multiple projects? And that would address, to anyone here who wants to answer. And I'm gonna go Also to Lori, and I see Bunny Love and Desperate Apes Wives. Daniel is here, and so many amazing people. That Emily Lyons is here, and Fanzo. So and authentic Kate is on stage as well. So happy to see you, lady, and Mitch, my love. So I'm addressing this to you guys before I'm gonna highlight someone else. But how do you manage time and prioritize, multiple projects? I mean, how do you decide which one is more important and which one you want to spend your time on? Like, how do you make that decision? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'll speak to that, and then I definitely want to hear what other people think, how other people operate too, because maybe I need some tips. But for me, I have sort of multiple lists and columns of what has to be done for all of the projects, and I end up kind of working on multiple projects per day. But ultimately, it's what is the most pressing. If one project is meant to launch on a certain date in a week's time, then obviously I have to get all of the materials and everything ready for that. But for example, like I have a PFP project that I've been working on, Feet and Eyes Guys, for months and months. And so quite often with that one, I kind of dip in and I'll say like, okay, I just have to accomplish this for this today. And then I can kind of step back out while sort of things are happening on the back end. Um, but I would say I visit all of my projects multiple times a day, but I do prioritize, like, if there's an actual deadline for any one thing, that automatically gets bumped to the top of the list. And then everything else is kind of order of importance, I think is key. I want to definitely know what other people think and what other people do with multiple projects for sure.
Feel free to
Hi
jump.
there.
Ah, Daniel, go for it.
Hey, yeah, I wanna say hi to David as well, and I don't know if you guys, everyone that is in the room, have been to NFTLA, but we've been to his performance, which was mind blowing. So I just wanna give a big shout out to you, David. It was amazing to see you on stage, and really looking forward to the next one.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And it was actually great to meet you and have a conversation with you. And it's always nice to really hear the heart behind, who's involved in the project. And, those are great experiences. And thank you for that. A lot of big things are coming around the bend. And also shout out to Denton as well, who I had the opportunity and the luxury of actually meeting with Paulo um, at a mansion party during NFTLA, and I'm a proud holder. And all this stuff is really, really great. I'm really happy to hear all these perspectives because I'm learning too. Right? None of us are perfect when it comes to project management. I will throw this out in the ecosystem. I use a platform called Monday that my assistant turned me on to, and it's a really, really powerful platform that at the early level is free, and you can build multiple projects. You can add staff members to those projects. You can create a calendar of communications when you need to reach out to people, and then you'll get email push notifications reminding you that you need to reach out to people. You can color coordinate these projects, and you could also bring team members into the ecosystem that can help you work within the project management cycle, so that when you wake up every day, as long as you're sort of curating it, once a day or once every 48 hours, it just helps sort of like, for me, it helps wrap my mind around the things that need done as opposed to things that I think need done. Because sometimes my emotions lie. Sometimes my emotions lie to me.
Totally,
But
totally. I agree. I agree.
David, I'm also using Monday, just so you know. It's an amazing tool. Thanks for sharing it.
then we might need to integrate, because I'm sure you and I will be doing different things, and we should probably, yeah, we'll talk about that behind. It's a great platform. I'm glad you use it.
Yeah, I put my team on it. I have a team that sits in different places around the world, and I need to follow up all the tasks and everything. So Monday, you guys, if you don't know it, you better check it out because it's a great tool. And there are a bunch of good tools out there. There's also Trello. I don't know if you guys heard of Trello, but Trello also is a tasks management tool that is very comfortable to use. Build out of boards and tasks and team members that you can delegate work and follow up on tasks, etc. And there's also kind of Slack, which is a more of a communication tool that enables you to create conversations, kind of a WhatsApp, but more organized. and also you can have documents shared and team members sharing and follow-ups. And so those are some of the tools that are really good that I've been using. Some of them, I mean, I've been using all of them to test them out. Right now we're using Monday. And yeah, I love that you mentioned that. And if we're, you know what, Daniel, if we're talking about you, I mean, you guys are like crazy. You guys have amazing projects that, you guys are a couple. I don't know if you guys know or heard of Desperate Ape Wives, but they have an amazing project that it's actually a couple owned by a couple. Daniel is the husband, and then there's Limor. She's the mom. She's the other side, maybe the better side,
Thank you, Gal.
and they're raising also two children. But the amazing thing with Desperate Ape Wives, it's not only that it's such a beautiful and successful also project, but this couple is from Israel. And Daniel, you're going to mute yourself while I'm speaking, so because I can hear myself in an echo, please. Thank you. And I'm going to let you speak in just a second. So they are from Israel, but they're not only working hard around the clock on that project, but they had really amazing accomplishments, such as, they have been featured in Elle magazine. And also Sia was showcasing their NFT on her dress in one of her events. And they also have a solo exhibition for a well-known gallery in London, and they did in Miami, and they launched like a house of Desperate Apes Wives on the metaverse. They're doing multiple things all around the world with their projects. I am a very proud mama to see them, because I'm Israeli, and I'm always attached by Israelis that are succeeding around the world, and they're doing it with with their hands full, only the two of them with kids. And it's just mind blowing to see how you grew your community. How do you manage everything? Also, by the way, Limor, the better half. No, I'm joking. The one of the couple, she was a lawyer, and she's a lawyer, and Danielle is a businessman, an entrepreneur, and together they have kind of decided to drop their daily jobs, their occupations, for the project. Now, Danielle, I want to ask you this. A lot of times people are thinking, you know, um, should we like let go of our previous lives in order to really succeed in our project? Do we have to put ourselves completely in the project in order to succeed, or is it possible to keep on rocking and keep on working in what you do while having that project running? Is it what do you think? I mean, I know you guys, Limor is not anymore doing she's not a lawyer anymore, and you're not in the business anymore. You both full-time on the project. So what do you think about that?
Actually, it's a very good question, because I don't know if you know, but I mean, I come from the traditional art world, and we have been engaging with big museums and galleries and auction houses since 2010. And when the NFT came, we just jumped in. And I think that because the NFT space is moving so fast, and time management is one of the most important things, because when we started, it was September 1st. We called an artist that we were in contact with from the traditional art world, and we pitched the idea of the Desperate Ape Wives to him. He liked the idea, and we started working together. And I literally locked myself in a room for 2 months in order to come out with the collection. And the florist, my wife, she helped as much as possible and gave all the inspiration and ideas for the fashion side. But I think that people don't really understand what it means to engage in the NFT space. For us, it's from the founders of a project, but I literally spoke with the accountant today, and he said, "Okay, come over to the office. I want to meet you." And I told him I don't have time for that. I mean, I try to drive. I try not to drive as much as possible, because it's a waste of time to find parking, and there is traffic, And people in the NFT space, sometimes think that there are spaceships that you get from one place to another. So I can tell you that for us, we didn't find the sweet spot yet to balance between the work, which is 100%. To your question, we didn't have the time to deal with other stuff. So I completely left my engagement with if it's the family trust and businesses and so on, and also the florist. I mean, she's working together with me 100% of the time on the project, because I think that otherwise, in everything that you do, if you're not committed 1000%, it probably won't happen. And I think that in the NFT space, it's much it's like running a marathon, but in 100-meter run speed. So I think that, and also this is only the only way that you can actually achieve things so quickly, because if it's a startup, you have time and you sit in the office and you can develop things and no one is really breathing your neck. But in the NFT space, everything needs to be done yesterday. So and we also, as you mentioned, we have two beautiful daughters, 6 and 9. And I can tell you that we didn't really have the time to spend with them in the past 8 months. I mean, no weekends, no holidays, and so on. And we are now trying to get back to track to balance things. And I think that, and I can tell you, and Trello and Monday and all of that, it's an amazing thing for us. We have a shared calendar, and everything is there. What is not in the calendar does not exist. I mean, we don't remember anything. There are too many things that needs to be accomplished and done. We have an amazing team as well that working with us, and we try to delegate things, but it's not that easy. But I think that with time, we'll be able to do it in a much more correct way, I would say.
That's great. And I think that one of the important things that you said is delegation. A lot of times we think maybe we should save the money and not pay someone else to do delegation. But at the end of the day, if we spending our time instead of on doing the little things that we don't have to do, that someone else can do for us, we are just wasting more money than if we would pay someone to do those little tasks. And I am happy to hear that you guys are doing delegation to team members. You wanted to add something?
Yeah, I just want to
Sure.
add that it's very I mean, because NFT is so niche right now, relatively, it's sometimes very hard to delegate because you need to explain, and the time that it takes you to explain things is much longer than to actually do it. So you also need to find the balance there. So if we work with people from within the NFT space, it's much easier to delegate than to hire people from outside, and then the learning curve is much higher.
Oh, I can totally relate to that. I mean, I'm holding a team of people from Web3, and it's always a task to find someone that is really good. It's like we were on 2006 when we started only the social media, and you needed to find a social media manager or as someone who is influencing, etc. But that's not an easy task. That wasn't an easy task because there was no such a job description at the time. But now, when the years have passed, everyone is, now there are a lot of social media managers and stuff. So it comes the same to the Web3. Web3, it's a whole new language, it's a whole new attitude, it's a whole new way of working. So it is harder to find someone to delegate the job for. But I can tell you that, there are a lot of things that you can delegate to. It could be a VA, like a virtual assistant or a personal assistant, or however you call it. It is very important to find someone like that to do the tasks that maybe are not Web3 necessary, but to take off your shoulder the time that you can spend on either being on spaces or networking or building the next level thing or creating your next initiative or anything that you are able to do, and then delegate it to someone else. Welcome Elja, welcome Emily. I see you, girl. Welcome everyone that is in the audience too. I see all of you guys. I know that some hands are raised. We're talking today about time management. We're going to get some people on stage a little bit later, but I do want to address our amazing guests on stage as well. Emily, love, are you here? Hi, Emily. So Emily, she is serial entrepreneur, serial guys. She has multiple businesses that she's been running for many years. She's a VC as well. She runs company with over 10,000 staff across North America. I mean, if we're talking about delegation, then Emily, she's the source of example for that. She hosts also a podcast that called the Mind Your Business. And aside to all that, she's also a collector in Web3. She's also an advisory and a mentor for the Meta Angels New Angle Labs. And also, she's working on tokenizing her own communities. She has amazing communities. She's running big clubhouse rooms. She's a host. She's like all over the place. Girl, what's up?
Hey,
Hey,
thanks so much for
hey.
the introduction.
Yeah, of course. Good to have you here. And listen, you have built an empire, okay? You are a walking empire. Now, I know it's a time consuming to run multiple businesses. How do you run 10,000 staff people? And how do you, at the same time, are able to actually follow up what's going on the Web3? I mean, you're advisory and mentor for the Meta Angels, and that's amazing. It's an amazing project. You know, like, tell me a little bit about your team, about how do you manage your team, and also how do you manage your time, the team and the time. I think those two components are very, very important to understand when it comes to the Web3 and in general as well.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I love talking about this. We can get so much more done than we actually think if we use systems. If we set up the right systems, if we have the right processes all lined up, we hat at every position so that it's there, it's ready to go, and then you delegate everything you can. So I delegate absolutely everything that is not required for me. So I focus on the highest income generating tasks, the things that move the needle forward that only really I can do. And really, for the most part, things that I enjoy and that I'm good at. And then I delegate everything else. And I mean everything. So my assistant checks my personal voicemails in the morning. Right? That might seem silly to a lot of people. Why do you pay somebody to do that? But that's then 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at the end of the day that I save every single day. And when you can find little things like that to save on your time, it adds up to massive amounts and you just focus on the things that matter. And I am always looking at working smart, not hard. I mean, I think that I have a pretty relaxed schedule. I mean, I did a 30-minute workout today. I've taken a break and gone for a walk, things like that. But when you really work smart, you can get far more done. But the problem is that we spend so much time on things that don't really matter or that we don't need to be doing. You know, we live in this world of distraction. We've got how many apps open right now. And so we're being distracted and we're not really finishing off tasks. We're just doing a little bit at a time. And so I like to not only delegate, but I like to time block. So I have my most important tasks for the day that I've got to get done that day. And then I remove all distractions and I focus on one for 30 minutes, get that knocked out. And then I move on to the next one, even if it's a small task, but it's really important. And then also, I think it's really important that we're reevaluating what our overall goals are. You know, are these things that we're working on right now getting us closer to our overall goal for the end of the year? Because we've all got these overall goals and then we've got these goals that we're doing right now for the day, for the week, for the month, but are they actually in line with what we're working towards? So I think it's really important that we get so good at goal setting and constantly reevaluating it.
Emily, you're my hero. I just have to say that.
Oh.
That's such good advice. It's really, I'm just listening to you and I'm like, this is amazing. Yes, I need to delegate more. Can I ask you though, like, how did you find team members that were like up to your level of productivity and like an assistant that you trust enough to get all in your personal business? That's like,
That's
I
the
think the hardest
part.
part.
1000% the hardest part, to find good employees that you trust and that are in line with you. But I think as you start to get more into it and you get better at communicating your why, your mission, your story, it's easier to find people that you can see also believe in what you're working towards, that also believe in that story, because that's really important, because then they're going to be working hard to see it come to life or to help it flourish. And so finding people that believe in your story, believe in your mission. And I think it's important that we don't look at what we're trained to look for when we're hiring. So I mean, yes, I'll glance at a resume, but for the most part, I don't care where they went to school. I don't care what their history is. I care about their personality and what they're like. Are they eager? Do they have that entrepreneurial spirit in them? Are they willing to learn? Are they willing to go above and beyond? Because the worst thing that anybody can do is say, that's not in my job description. Then you know you're going to have a tough employee on your hand. So people that just have that great, and not only that, but like a positive attitude, because people that are positive and always looking for solutions versus having somebody on your team that's always like, oh my God, there's a problem, there's an obstacle. And so I think those are the biggest game changers.
I love that advice. Thank you.
Amazing, Emily, as always. And it is so important to block times. I love that you mentioned it, because blocking times enable you to actually stretch your legs. It says everywhere, I read everywhere, that to actually, your brain capacity can go for 90 minutes, of work. And then you have to actually get up, move around, stretch for a minute, look at the window, grab a cup of coffee, go do your laundry, do something else, and stop everything just to chill your brain for a few minutes and then go back to work. So I love that you mentioned it, Emily. I think it is very, very important to do so, and everything that you do is just magical. So I'm so happy you jumped on stage. I know you're always busy, so happy to have you here, girl.
Hey, Tal, can I jump in on that?
Yes, Fanzo, please. I was going to come to you. Go for it.
So yeah, and congrats tomorrow on the minting of
Thank
a new
you.
little one. So
Yeah.
excited to hear about that. And I love. I mean, I was nodding my head to everything that Emily was saying. I think most of us are, and I've been lucky to share many stages with pretty much almost everyone up here on Clubhouse. And I'm for those that aren't familiar with what I'm doing right now, today was day 180. I'm doing NFT podcast every single day, as well as buying an NFT every day. So today was 180 days in a row. We're almost to the halfway mark. And I would say up until November of last year, when I started this project, I would consider myself someone that struggles with productivity and consistency. I am ADHD. I was diagnosed almost 10 years ago, coming up next month. And I will say, like, when I hear productivity, when I hear task management, I'm like the guy that, when I hear, people are using the Monday app or Trello, I'm like, I've used all of those apps and I've created lists in every one of those apps. I haven't done anything with the lists. I have lists in every app in 47 different programs. And that was a massive struggle for me, as I'm someone that, embraces technology. I have no problem delegating, but I will say, the magic for me happened over the last 4, 5, 6 months was actually in finding someone on my team, and now multiple people on the team. Like, when we started, there was a team of 1.5 of us. November 11th, when we started, I now have a team of 9. I will probably have a team of 11 by the end of this month. And I will say, to Emily's kind of credit with where she was saying, like, I had people coming to me and saying, Brian, I believe in what you're doing with the podcast. I love the mission you're on. I believe I could help solve this problem, or I believe that I want to take on more of a role. And what I found was, I actually found people now that are like accountability things that I've actually built into my world. And like, so not only finding great people on my team, but I'll have people that I'll put things now. We use Trello for managing our NFT projects. We use Slack for managing the podcast conversation. And then, of course, we have, Discord, because we all apparently like painful solutions. And so we all live in a Discord on a daily basis. But what I found is, like, I have different people that will say, like, hey, Brian, I'm putting this on your calendar because you said it was important a week ago. And that, like, freedom, holy hell, like, it went from me feeling like I was doing all of these distracted tasks to now I'm doing distracted tasks that someone else is helping me organize, prioritize. And I will openly admit, like, prioritization is the piece I think that was missing from me. Like, I oftentimes prioritize, I'm like the procrastinator, right? I prioritized on what was due in the nearest amount of time, but we all know that's not really the best way of prioritizing. We should be prioritizing based on the importance of the tasks, just because the bill is due tomorrow doesn't mean that is actually the number one thing on our focus. And I will say, like, that element of having like a team that, and I will tell you, part of it for me was the magic of, I just simply said, like, these are what I struggle with. This is what I want to accomplish. I need your help. And it's still a work in progress. I will tell you, Allison was in here a little bit earlier, but like Allison, who's helping me out the most right now on my team, she's a doctor, a cancer doctor in Canada, like a badass, cancer doctor, that she's like, I want to learn more Web3. I want to lean into Web3. And Fanzo, I found your podcast. I want to help you out. Like, you're doing a daily podcast, you're buying a daily NFT. And all of a sudden she stepped into this role where it sounds kind of crazy for me, because this is someone with a PhD doing God's work. And I'm doing Web3 education. To me, but what she found was like, she gets something out of it by being on the inner side of being able to learn Web3 without having to take up all of her precious time that she has outside of being a cancer doctor. And I get to have someone that really understands my goals, my mission, my methods. And I just think it's been a freedom that I didn't know that I needed. So for anyone that's listening that is like me, that's like, man, I love task management, I love productivity, I have every app under the sun, but I'm struggling to figure out like how to turn these lists into actual action. Finding those people is the game changer. And I've known that for 7+ years that I've been on my own, but it wasn't until the last 6 months that I kind of found that person. And it's been a freedom that I wish I knew about 7 years ago. So Emily, I back up 1,000% what Emily was sharing. And I would just say that I backed it up many years ago, but I finally now found a team that can help me execute on it. So just wanted to throw that in there. Cheers all.
Amazing, Fanzo. Thank you so much. And thanks, Emily. I think that, as I said, as you guys said, as we all say, delegation, it's a key, guys. Delegation, it's where you actually find your own time to actually create, to develop, to grow, and to handle and to hand tasks that you not necessarily have to do to someone else. And don't think it's wasting of money. It's saving you money, because the money that you're spending there, you're going to triple it when you are actually going to develop a good roadmap, a good development for your company, and everything that you are able to do, instead of just wasting your time on things that not. And Fanzo, I love that you share that, and Emily too. And yes, I know it's hard to find good people. It's a process, but it's part of growing. It's part of evolving. It's part of actually creating something that is better in your company, in your project, in anything that you do. I want to welcome Keith. Welcome, Keith, on stage. Good to have you here, my friend. Always, always pleasure. I think that one of the most beautiful things that Keith has done is actually growing time into so many levels of success and so many beautiful things that combining with Web 2 and Web 3. Keith, are you here, my dear?
I am. How are you feeling? How are you feeling, Paul?
Good, good, good.
When is
Keith, what's up, brother? Keith,
How
legend.
are you? How are you, David?
Good, good, great to have you here. We're just talking about time management, which is a very key component to all of our lives. And as you know, we all struggling, not struggling, but we all trying to time management our time here on the Web3, when it's not that simple, because there's so many changes, as you can see, with the market, with everything. When there's a war, when there's a Elon Musk buying suddenly Twitter, so many things are affecting that market. And how do you feel about time management? I know that you are, so multiple tasking with your family, with Web3, with running, Time magazine as well. Do you have any tip or a trick that how do you manage your time, multitasking, all that?
So, I'm a terrible person to ask this question to, and I want to be
I love it.
I want to be very honest about that, because like, ultimately, you can only define time management, in my opinion, based on what you want the outcome to be and what outcome you want, or you determine to be successful, right? And what I might want in life might be different than what Swan might want, or what David might want, or what Emily might want, or what Fanzo might want, right? And what Caitlin might want. And you have to realize like there's no one sort of formula. And I'll give you like a good example, which is, like I don't believe that there's a separation between work and life. Like I fundamentally don't believe it. And people either find that that philosophy is offensive to them or they understand it. Now, I don't care if somebody wants to balance work and life, but what I just always want to point out to people is that think about work and life balance. If you want more life, give up on work, and if you give up on work, then you ultimately give up on if you value those
I
your
think
growth and
we're
everything
losing
else.
you.
No, can you hear me now? It's
Yes,
okay
hear
now.
you now.
Okay, so
Now it's great.
so so like if you want more life, right? You give up on what time you can dedicate to work. And if you do that, there are repercussions to it. Now, you might, as an individual, not care what those repercussions are, but those repercussions could be tremendous monetary returns, right? If you want more money or you want more success, or you want more career growth, you give up on life, right? And it's like, and this is a thing that nobody can tell you what the right balance is. You have to choose what is for yourself, right? You have to choose how you want to sort of allocate yourself personally. But the reason I said I'm the worst person to ask this question for, and Emily knows this, and Swan, I believe, knows this very well, and David's seen it, and I believe Caitlin has seen it, and you've seen it, Tal, a little bit, is like, I don't have life for the most part. Like, I focus 100% of my time on work, right? And I think that, like, it's really important that people realize that like the way I operate might not be the way that other people want to operate. But I get up very early every morning at like 4:45, 5 o'clock, if I sleep in, and I work 7 days a week until I sort of pass out. And I give up a lot of things in life for that. Like I've made a lot of sacrifices for
But
that.
Keith, I would say though the difference is you do what you love, so a lot of it isn't
Right.
actually
But
work for
but
you.
but that's where you have to sort of put yourself into a situation where you go, like, I didn't always have that, right? Like I came up through jobs that I enjoyed, and I found ways and prisms to look at the jobs. Even when I was an assistant, I found a way to look at that job through the lens of growth and like where I wanted to take myself. Now, once you get to a certain point, like just because you work 24 hours a day doesn't mean that you have to do every job. It doesn't mean that you do it. I think with Tal, what you said and what Fanzo said is really important, right? Like you have to delegate. Once you get above like 7 or 8 people, you have to delegate out. And like that's really important that you have to look for amazing people, people who you trust, people who you think are smart, people who have the same work ethic or grit as you. And from there, sort of that's how you scale, right? But from a time management perspective, I would be lying if I said, like, oh, like, I love like relaxing on this day or this day. Like, as a matter of fact, like, I'm made and built for this fucked up Web3 environment that is like designed for workaholic insomniacs, right? Like I've had that say good morning to people, right? Like I'm like, wow, like workaholic insomniac environment that says good morning to people, that's like my dream come true as an environment. And so I say that because just because this works for me doesn't mean that it should work for everyone, right? But like people just need to decide, what do you want out of life? What do you ultimately want out of life? And by the way, like Emily, like to your point, like look, like I worked hard to get where I am, right? And I wasn't always in jobs that I loved, but I always had a vision or a north star as to where I wanted to go, and I, did the only thing I could do, which is control my time and how I allocated my time to make sure that I got myself into the positions that I could get myself into.
Keith, if
Hey, Keith.
I have to say, I have to say that I am 100% resonate with you because I am a crazy workaholic. Everyone knows that. All the people who knows me know that I am literally 40 weeks today pregnant, right? That's what I am. I'm supposed to be lying down, staring at the ceiling, waiting for my water to break, but I'm running around and I am working all the time. I can 100% resonate with you because it doesn't matter if I have a kid at home, I'm always paying her attention. I'm giving her everything that I have. But when I'm not with her, I'm just working. I'd rather to work than go to a coffee with a friend, or to go to a party, or to go anywhere outside of my house, just to work. And all the time I have my northern star, even doing things that I less like sometimes, because it's part of the, part of the business growth and everything, but I know where I'm going to. So I just wanted to kudos to you for everything you say. And I wanted to tell you that I'm actually hosting this stage to hear other people's perspectives on time management, because I literally don't have it in my system, or I do have it in my way of just working. That's what I love to do, because I just enjoy every minute of my time. I wake up like a beast, and I can't wait to start the new day. So I just wanted to add it out there that I'm 100% resonate with you, and I'm the same. We made of the same materials, I guess, because I'm working since I remember myself. David,
Yeah, so
I see you
I
on mic,
love
my friend.
yeah. I had a quick question. Of course, Keith, I adore you. I absolutely adore you and everything that you stand for. And everything at Time Magazine is a trickle-down effect of the incredible human being that you are. I think a lot of the sort of like recurring themes that I'm hearing in the conversation today is not just about the notion of time management, but also about what is our intimate life? Like, what does our intimate life look like? And how do we, say, for example, balance that? Like, I know, like, with my girlfriend, I have to make a conscious decision to not take the phone to the dinner table and to the breakfast table. Like, so, I'd love to hear from you, you being, a family man yourself, and being a man of just great moral compass and great moral principles, and always focusing on children's projects and things like that. How do you separate church and state? You know, as it relates to what is the business mind versus, okay, now it's time to turn this business mind off. And do you have patterns or disciplines that you sort of follow to make sure that you can separate church and state?
To me, is that to me, David? Is
That's
I'm a
that's to you. That's
It's
a
to
to
you,
you.
Keith.
terrible.
That's
It's
absolutely to you,
it
Keith.
is. I'm a terrible example of this. I couldn't even tell you where to start or where I would start on it. I prioritize my daughter over anything else, right? And that's probably the only sort of area that I feel like I could definitively say. And even when I prioritize, like I struggle. And I think it's an honest answer. Is uh, I'm not as wonderful as I would want to be. Um, but like you have to understand that for me, um, like neither of my parents went to college. My family went up and down financially throughout my life. Like I was the first in my immediate family to go to college, and I look at my daughter, and I think to my daughter, there's no way I want to put her in some of the situations that I had to deal with growing up. And so, like, the number one priority in my mind is making sure that I remove some of the stressors that I had that probably made me a complete fucked up workaholic, right? And so, like, I try to balance that, but I am not, I am not uh, wonderful at it in the slightest, and I can't sort of sit here and pretend or claim to be anything other. As it relates to the efforts that I do for like Stand With Students, which is Title I schools, or like any of the children's efforts, the reason I do that is because I worry about the state of society. And I think about my position, and I think that the two most scalable sort of areas of influence I have are time and, meaning my brand time, not time, because this is a time management discussion, but time and New York Cares. And I want to make sure that I can help as many Title I students as possible, because when I look at my daughter, I'm not necessarily worried about her life and how it's going to pan out. Her education is paid for. She goes to a wonderful school. But I do very much worry about a lot of kids who are at Title I schools who, during this time, especially over the past 2 years with COVID, have seen the digital divide exacerbate, have seen their education lack comparatively, and what that means for society over sort of the next 20 years is very sad. And so I think about that stuff, and I try to think that I can use my business platform. I apologize, I was just going up steps. I try to use my business platform to enact as much good as I possibly can in the world. So I hope that's an honest answer. By no means am I a good person or a wonderful person or anything. Like, I have huge flaws like everyone else. But I try my best every day to just do what's right for my daughter and do, what I can, to help as many kids as possible.
It just
Amazing.
sounds great to hear you just follow your heart. That's what I got out of that you follow your heart and that guides you. It's great. It's beautiful. We love you, Keith.
Amazing. I saw Lori and Daniel were their hands up. I'm going to let you speak in just a second. But Keith, just to let you know that I grew up with parents that were working all the time. And for me, it was an amazing example for what I want to be. And an amazing example for parents who are fulfilling themselves and working hard. And it doesn't matter if I grew up with a lot of babysitters and nannies, and that was okay because my mother, she's my role model, just like you. She was a hard worker. I barely saw her, but she was always there for me when I needed, and that's the most important in it. So trust me, your daughter's gonna appreciate every second of what you are doing for her today because you're building her future, and that's not less important than anything else that you do. Laurie, welcome on stage. Did you want to ask something for Keith? I don't want to break the conversation, so go for it. And then I saw Danielle also.
I just kind of wanted to add to what both Fanzo and Keith were saying. I'm not gonna lie, even now, like, the ADHD has got me wanting to scratch the walls, just because these conversations tend to, like, we have to fill every goddamn second of space. And as someone with ADHD myself, it makes me burn out. It makes me run straight to a rock wall. And I really think that there's something absolutely magical in learning to slow down and give your life room to breathe. I promise you, I swear to God, that if you give yourself if you're the busiest person, focusing just on your passion. Because for me, I just want to build. I'm an NFT photographer, the storm chaser. I see Jennifer down there, by the way, fellow but weather lover Jennifer Watson. I guess she knows Fanzo too. Small world. This is great. But so focusing on your passion, of course, and you all have talked about that. Fanzo is also especially just focusing on what you love. That's just so important. I wake up now, and I'm like Keith now. I have gotten to the point where I wake up, I'm thinking building Web3. What can I do more? What can I do else to build, to create, to network, and to build community in this space? But in addition to that, I'm still concentrating on my NFT work. I'm an artist. I'm planning on going out to chase tornadoes in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and I'll be out there for 2 weeks, again, creating and doing the very things that I love. But I'm not going to lie, even when I'm out on the Great Plains, I'm not going to wake up thinking, or I'm going to wake up definitely thinking about Web3 and why I'm here. And all of those things are going to go through my mind. And I'm going to want to jump in spaces, but I probably won't be able to. But it's so important to just take a moment. I promise the biggest gift that I've learned is to actually, in the moment, learn to just slow down for a second. And it gives me so much more peace in my ADHD brain, because the machines that we use, right? The tools that Twitter and all these social media apps, they are designed to get you to run, and not only run, but to just go full board as fast as you can. Spaces are the same way. All of our conversations are designed, hurry up, Lori, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And you know what? I end up not gaining what I need to. And that human element is lost. And for me, if we learn to live in the machine, we're going to forget the human element. And it's so important to just let the conversations breathe. So when you're focusing on that passion, when you're focusing on building, that it's just so important to just stop and just like what I was hearing, people stopping and saying, Tal, you're having a one of one tomorrow. I think those things are more important when someone talks to me and they bring that up. I know it goes against everything that we want to do. We want to just get to the point, but we lose our heart and soul. in the midst of it. And so I love, I, I'm absolutely passionate about what I'm doing now. From what Keith was saying, from morning to evening, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, it's thinking about building in Web3. And even if I'm with my kids, whatever else I'm doing, I just want to build. I want to be here. I want to build. And I also want to continue to build out my own strategy for success as a one-of-one artist. But I really think it's more important and most important to learn to just slow it down a little bit. It sounds counterintuitive, but if you learn to give yourself to room to breathe and the space to breathe, you'll find out that we can all disengage just for a second and we can be a little more human. And that's something that I'm just striving every day, because like Fans was saying, I just want to I have the propensity to keep running so fast with my ADHD brain that burnout is my most common problem that I struggle with.
I love your Swan, my dear. Mike is yours.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the conversation. Something Keith said really resonated. You know, we love our work, and I'm famous for saying Web3 doesn't sleep. But I wasn't always like this, right? I was in the corporate world and I worked hard and arguably did well, but like I was still always like, okay, what time do I get to go home? What time do I get to go to dinner or go to my volleyball game? And since entering Web3 a couple of years ago, it's just completely changed my motivation and purpose in life. And so now I am actually like, when is this dinner over so I can go home and work? I mean, it's complete flipping of it. And sometimes I do get worried from not just the burnout perspective, it's actually more the mental health perspective, but the other way. Like, I feel guilty for working all the time. People are always like, take a break, you need a vacation. I'm like, I'm really don't. I love what I do. So, I sometimes end up feeling guilty that I'm not doing some of the social stuff that I used to do or that I do. Like, when Keith goes, he's like, he gets up at 5 or 6. I'm like, dude, I went to bed at 5 or 6 last night. So basically, Keith and I can't be friends because we'll never be on the same daylight schedule. But you kind of find your own way. And I want to give myself the grace and forgiveness to actually want to work that much. Because if you're actually motivated by purpose, not because you're avoiding something else or you're lacking identity, which is what I used to do. Like my entire self-worth was based on my corporate roles, right? I was the head of digital marketing at Nike, and I felt so good telling people that. So I worked hard to keep that. Now I don't even know what to call myself, but the purpose is there. It's to actually democratize information and access on this crazy, amazing thing that we all get to work on. How lucky are we that this is what we get to do, even if it's part-time and not a full-time job, even as a hobby? So if we're that lucky to be able to do something we love and to be able to hopefully change the world and build the future we want to live in, I actually don't want to feel guilty when I want to leave a social event that honestly probably wasn't that good to go home and talk to my friends online, to talk about how we figure out how to save this bear market we're in or how to put birth certificates on the blockchain. And yes, still trade JPEGs. So I want to give a little space for that because I think I always give myself grace on, oh, well, you don't have to work that hard because you work hard all the time. But this inflection point in my life, I actually want to give myself grace to be like, it's actually okay that you finally want to work so hard. And yes, there's limits and boundaries to maybe burnout and doing it too much, but half my social events, if not most of them, are my friends I work with now. So the lines have blurred, and I don't think it's always that fair to just call it that it's, working too hard. And it's funny because people who say that haven't entered this world, give them 2 weeks once they're in, they're like, I know what you're talking about now.
Amazing. And I think that it's a very important key that you brought up, taking time for ourselves for a minute. That's very important to do. You said it, Lori said it. I mean, I need to learn how to do that. I'm not very good in that. Just taking a minute, not doing anything because my brain works literally 24/7. But I love that you shared it. I saw that we have Kate with your hand up. Hi, Kate. How are you? I see that you're marketing strategist at the Desperate Apes Wives, and you're also women's supporter, and you're an amazing artist as well. Go for it. The mic is yours. And then I see Fanzo. I see you next.
Hi, yeah, I'm Kate. I'm mom in this space. And, I just wanted to kind of, touch on what a couple of things that were said, both by Keith and by Swan. I've found personally just incredible opportunity in the Web3 space as a mom to have that balance that wasn't as easy to get in my previous life. So I was working in the entertainment space, and it was a very rigid schedule, of like long hours and, set hours. There wasn't any flexibility. And I was told even then by bosses, like, you really can't succeed and be a mom in this space because you have to be kind of all in all the time. Sort of, I think, like the way Keith was describing, like your mindset had to be only that. And I had my daughter in my 20s, it was very almost discouraging for me at the time, feeling like I want to have a career, but I also want to be a mom. I don't want to have to choose. Like, how can I, this can't be right. This can't be that you can't do both. And I think that the Web3 space has really unlocked a lot of opportunities for women to see that they can do it all, really, right? Because there is no traditional work day in this space. You can work at whatever's the best time for you. So, some people that might be 6 a.m., other people that might be, at 11 o'clock at night. I think you can tailor your schedule and get your work done and still have time with your kid, and that's like a beautiful thing. Like my daughter goes to a hybrid school, so she's half homeschooled, she's half at school, and I'm working full time, and I love it. I can honestly say it seems like it would be overwhelming, but it's not. It's the most incredible thing that I've ever done in my life, and I think that it's created a wonderful bond between us. Like, I'll be sitting here working and she'll be typing up, like right now she's doing a research paper for school on NFTs in gaming and how that's the future of gaming. And it's just such a fun way to kind of integrate our lives together and figure out how can we tie things together. And so I just kind of want to encourage all the moms out there that have kids, that you can spend time with your kids, you can be a mom, and you can succeed in this space. And just look for the opportunities. There's incredible teams out there who will support you. I'm lucky to have an incredible team at Desperate Ape Lives who are also parents, who are also trying to find that balance with their kids. And I think that that's I feel really lucky about that.
Totally, Kate. I have to say that Kate is one of our superstars, and thank you for coming up. We have an amazing team. I just want to add to what David asked and Keith answered, because for me, I really relate to Keith's mindset. I'm a bit of workaholic myself, and we have a unique thing at home where after 2 months of working very hard, and then we sold out, we thought that things will come down a bit, and they didn't. So I mean, both the florist and myself, we had to take a decision. We either each take their own way, or she comes 100% with me to sit next to me at the table, and I think that we took the right decision. Things that we're working together. I mean, I think that she balances me a lot. I think that we balance each other. Probably. I mean, you can tell,
Right.
you can
Yeah,
say
for sure.
yourself, but one of the key points, because David, you asked about family and how we balance this, and I can tell you that a few weeks ago, my daughter, I took her from school, and she tells me, "Why do you work all the time?" And I asked her, "Why do you say that?" And she said, "Because you're not with us on a Saturday." And when I heard that, it was like, in the lower belly, and I said, okay, I really, if she's telling this to me now, I really must take it into consideration. And since then, we're really trying to, at least on a Saturday, which is our day off, or supposed to be our day off at least, to really try and take some time to be with the family.
You know, this is
Yeah, I
this is
think
Fanzo.
those
Oh,
disciplines are very important disciplines.
and
Yes,
I
thank you.
want
Fanzo.
I want to throw
Fanzo.
something in there. 'Cause I think there's a common thread in this entire thing that's so beautifully woven in here, is that we are redefining our lives to the way that we want to live. And I think like the shame and guilt that Swan was saying, like I can relate so damn much. But let's face it, a lot of that shame and guilt is internal, right? Because we were programmed to believe that so much of certain things were what our parents did or what the generations before us did. And even to what Keith was mentioning earlier about, like, I want to take the word workaholic and say what we've found is we found a North Star that gets us excited every single morning, 7 days a week. our North Star isn't about a 5-day week work week or for beautiful freedom to listen to everyone here. Because I think that's part of what, like for me, like being diagnosed ADHD, I've shared this a lot. Like 10 years ago, for me, that day changed my life. And it changed my life not because I was medicated, not because I could say that I have ADHD, but really it was this idea that I went from being broken to being different. And I was like, wait a second, if I'm just different, why don't I just reset my freaking life to be different? And so, like, I know, like, actually, right now, like, I know that my least productivity times in my day is that 11 a.m. till about 3 p.m. part of my day. Like, I suck during those hours. Like, I am just miserable. You know, like, I just don't, I'm not very productive. So, I do a lot of things that most people are like, wait a second, you do that during those hours? Like, isn't that what we're supposed to do between 6 and 7 p.m. or 8 to 9 p.m.? I'm like, oh no, that's when my brain is the most powered and ready to work. Like, turn me on at 9 o'clock at night and I'm ready to knock shit out. And I think that, like, when we refer to Web3, I think it's a lot less about being workaholics. It's about Web3 allows us to redesign our lives. And I love that your daughter said that. I'm a dad of 3 little girls. I am co-parenting. I have 50-50 custody. And we used to call it airplane mode time. When my daughter would be like, Daddy, is it plane mode time? Which meant I would put my phone in airplane mode. And what I noticed on that was, like, that was hard, not because it was hard to go in airplane mode, but there was part of me that was always wondering, like, what am I missing? What am I not clued into? And then we all know when you go turn off, turning back on is a freaking nightmare. So I had to work with my daughters to be like, hey, let's both look at, like, our days and the times we have together. I'm like, hey, if you want to play Roblox, let you play Roblox during these hours when daddy is most ready to work. And then the times that you want daddy's, full on attention, let's do that when daddy's not at the best time to work. And it took a lot. And I will tell you, dad guilt, mom guilt, all of that is as real as it gets, because what we were told or what we've seen in the past of, like, what it should look like, that doesn't mean that that's the only way and the way that we should have to kind of design our lives. So I mean, I love the conversation as a whole, and I did say kudos to everyone that is brave enough to redesign their life, not in a outside the bucket or 7 days a week, but redesigning to where it's the best for you at this moment, because that's how we're going to change the world. It's not about fitting into a bucket, but owning our own individual success. So kudos to everyone in here doing that.
Totally, fans.
So,
So
yep,
go
go for
ahead,
it.
Sam. No,
No,
I
go
just want
ahead,
to
go
I
ahead.
just want to I totally, fans. I totally relate to what you're saying, because for me also, the nighttime, working from 8 9 till the morning is when I'm the most productive. So I totally relate to what you're saying, but I will take your advice about the airplane mode. I'm totally gonna use it.
And I love what you shared because, Fanzo, I feel like a book with a lot of chapters. I've been changing my life for so many times since I remember myself. Since I've been working since I'm 6 years old. Not because I had to financial my parents. Thank goodness they were okay. We were not rich or wealthy, but I was learning to work since I was very very young, and I've been pivoting my way for so many years. And when I finished serving the army, I left to New York and established my first company when I was 21. Had no idea what I was doing. Which was a plumbing and constructions company in New York. Like, what? But I was pivoting my way for so many years doing what I love. And that's my goal and my mission. For me, working is kind of freedom. It's kind of who I am, it's part of my DNA, and it's okay. And sometimes, I can tell you in my previous pregnancy, I actually was traveling. I found the time to go to the Maldives, to go to the Burning Man, to give myself time to have fun. And now I'm actually, on Web3. So I'm working all the time, but I'm also as happy as I was on the Maldives, in my previous pregnancy. So, it's all about what's your state of mind and how do you shift your life. And I totally agree with you. Life is so amazingly changing and so amazing. I have so many things that you can do that I wouldn't strict to only one thing. Changes are healthy, they're fun, and as long as you do what you love, you have to pivot with time, with life, and join your journey. Like, don't fight whatever happens around you. Just join it and enjoy it. So I love that you shared it, Fanzo. Thank you so much. I want to go to Elja, who is here with us as well. Now, Elja is an amazing human being. First of all, he's my for me, I call him my godfather of my a Web3 godfather for my child. And he's the founder and CEO of Jubas, but he also managing crypto and NFT companies. And he's advisoring for more than 70 companies around the world. He's located in Dubai, but he's multitasking with 70 plus companies. Elja, are you here, my friend? How are you?
Hello, how are you? Hi, guys.
Hi, hi, hi. Tell me, I have a question,
Please.
doing that, 70 plus countries around the world. I'm curious about actually your meeting policy. Is it like 30 minutes meeting policy? Do you give yourself time between to eat? You have breaks? How do you manage so many companies that you are advisory for and working with your time? I'm just curious.
No, it's actually normal. I mean, I always say something. Everyone here, or like in the Web3, when they start, mainly they are coming to make a better financial life, and they're not really mainly coming for the tech, right? And that's why when the price go really smash down, you will not find as much as people as you can find now. Uh, So I always say, what you are rich is time. Time is you are billionaire in time. You might not be billionaire in resources. You not be anything, but you have the time, right? So you have to abuse the time, not manage the time. Management is like something you're more relaxed. Abusing is like you're really trying to maximize what you can do from. And yeah, I learned that. And by time when you're working with this project, I mean, at the beginning, of course, it's gonna be difficult. But once you get to know each other and work for 3, 4, 5 years, then it will be smooth and it's going to be faster. Like I used to be anonymous for almost 6 years in this space. I doxed myself less than 2 months ago, and I made my first video on YouTube. I might put it tomorrow with the CTO, the co-founder of Travala, which is a company that exists more than 5 years now, and it's the only company that you can actually book with crypto flights and hotels around the world. They're from the UK, and they've never seen me before in this 5 years plus. And the video is nice when you watch it. I mean, it's a really long journey. I mean, times passes, right? We're getting old, at least me and the co-founder. So yeah, I mean, it's just simple. By time you get to know each other, it's gonna be easier to manage. Like now I'm with you. I'm in another space at the same moment, and I'm opening Telegram and typing to other people. So that's normal.
So you say multitasking, it's the normal thing, right? And I think that a lot of people have talked here about it, saying that, everyone has his own normal multitasking. I mean, everyone has his own time management. Some people can say that their time management is very important for them to meditate in the morning, to stop and do yoga in the middle of the day, or go to the beach. And some people just work, 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 and that's for them the meditation. So I guess you're the ones that are work, work, working for you, right?
Yeah, I work. I don't like vacations. I get bored actually when I take a vacation.
Well, it's funny. Always on my vacations, my computer is with me, my phone is with me, my headset is with me, and my hubby knows that's part of who I am. I'm always attached with one ear. Um, Welcome to this. Well, thank you, Elja, for that share. I mean, you are doing amazing job in so many levels, and I just always enjoying listening to you on stages, and it's just amazing how much work you put in the Web3 and how you gather so many people together, and you're so humble, and you do giveaways, and you do so many things that are so precious to everyone's heart, and thank you so much for joining us today as well. And Sammy, welcome on stage. I see you, buddy. And I wanted to address, first of all, Bunny Buddies are here, the Mitch is here. I've been missing your voice, guys, so I'm gonna address the next one to you guys, because I know you guys are working on so many things behind the scenes when it comes to the Bunny Bunnies, and you're doing so many good things, giveaways all the time on different stages. How do you guys manage your time with how's your mom, by the way? I'm crazy on your mother. You guys, Bunny Buddies and Mitch, she's Arya and Mitch are brothers in real life. I'm kind of their sister. A little bunny as well, maybe.
You are my
But
sister.
I love these two.
I'm gonna let my brother.
I love these two.
I love you so
Go
much,
for it.
and yeah,
Go for
it's
it.
just it's amazing room here today as always. Having Swan and Alja and David and Fanzo, everybody here is just it's amazing room as always, Tal. And yeah, we always like to give away something in your rooms, of course, and I think we should give away something today. We had a nice little article write up about us today for the Bunny Buddies. Things are going really well.
Ooh.
Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff coming out. We can't really share too much this week. We'll share more next week with you, but right now we just always a pleasure to be here. I'll let my brother speak a little bit just because I'm just taking care of something right now for work, and yeah, we love you very much. It's a great subject matter. Time management is key. Multitasking is key in this space, I think. But yeah, we come from different industries, so it's something we're used to. We are running different types of businesses at the same time, but this is the most exciting time, really. So yeah, Ari, you there?
Ari,
Ah,
Ari,
My
my dear,
brother.
I'm gonna pivot the question to make it
Yes.
even more accurate, to make it more understandable. So you guys are managing so many spaces, right? You're jumping on spaces, you are in alpha chats, and I see you all over the place. You guys are rock stars. So how do you actually have no FOMO? Or how do you manage your FOMO of not being on space, or FOMO of something else while you're on space? Do you have that kind of a feeling? Do you feel like you are
No.
managing to
Just quickly before you go to
go for
that
it?
one, FOMO,
Sure.
FOMO's the party is where you're at. Tal. That's all I can tell you. It's not where you're at; it's who you're with, and that's how I feel always. It doesn't matter. There's no FOMO here. You can only get so much done in a day. At the end of the day, it's just maximizing what you can do. But I don't have FOMO. If I can't be somewhere, it's for a reason. It's because I'm somewhere else that I prefer to be. So I love being with you all the time, and that's why I don't care what I'm missing right now. Ari, go ahead,
hey,
buddy.
hey, first of all, Tal, really, really excited about your upcoming mint tomorrow. We are looking
Oh
forward to
yeah, big
celebrating
muscle tov.
that.
Exactly.
That's such incredible news. Just wishing you healthy, easy, fast, and happy birthday tomorrow. What can we tell you? That's
Thank you.
exciting times ahead. But yeah, look, this whole Swan, great to see you, David, Fanzo, Sammy. It's like family up here. Everybody up here. Literally family. I got my brother here as well. Don't feel FOMO necessarily at all when it comes to spaces. Would love to be everywhere when you can, all at the same time. But there's only one of each of us, and reality is in this space we do work normal hours. I call them 9 to 5 hours, 9 a.m. to 5 a.m., and that's pretty much as much as we can squeeze in for the day. But that's Web3, and it really
Oh,
resonated with
Ari,
us from
sorry.
day one.
I
Yeah,
apologize. I
yeah.
apologize. The only FOMO I felt, actually, I'd be lying. Not for any of the spaces. I felt FOMO missing all you guys in Miami. So that was bullshit. So I'm going to see you all in New York.
Some
All right, that's all
bullshit,
I can say.
Mitch. Oh,
That was
some
That was my
bullshit. You
only
not
FOMO.
showing up.
Aside from that, no more FOMO here. Go ahead. All right, sorry.
Oh yeah, no, but speaking of Miami, even there, it's like I stay with my sister and my brother-in-law for a few days. They got a beautiful pad out there, and the guy would come up. He goes to work at 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. He sees me out in my computer, still working away every day, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And again, like Fanzo touched on it, is like that guilt, like you're punishing yourself. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Do you know what kind of crazy shit's been going on all night? This fucking industry does not sleep." And it really does resonate with us. It sat with us from day one, from the first NFT I traded, from the first flip, from whatever you want to call it, the first community I dove into and became part of and started really getting involved. So the industry really does resonate. That 24/7 clock, it's something enjoyable. It works on all angles. For us, it is about a lot of time management, but you can't do everything yourself. It's about building teams. This is a company ultimately that we're building. We're working on, large goals long term and building a business around it. With that, there's different divisions, sectors, marketing, PR, literally sales. You've got your development, your art, your product development, the floor price, everything else that's got to be worked on, as well as managing an entire community. So those are things that we've had to really, kind of evolve with in the space, understanding community management in itself and how much of that actually lies not so much in our own hands, but in the community itself. We've got some tremendous leaders, management. We've got, you can come up with an idea. We came up with a poker tournament, said, hey guys, we want to hold a poker tournament. 48 hours, you had all the PR, publicity, the marketing materials, everything ready to go, pump them out. We blasted out the largest poker tournament and 780 entrances, like in the NFT space ever. Like it was like in 72 hours, and these are the kind of things that when you have that organization, you have the community behind you, you have your marketing teams, you have your, PR, everybody, like all these little divisions. And then there's, of course, we have to navigate all of these things at the end of the day. So it's just constant excitement. It's like it's a firecracker under your ass 24/7. You don't want to sleep because it's literally a stock market and a ticker symbol and data flowing in left, right, and center. And it's not just ours, it's the entire industry. We just saw what happened with the other side and all this liquidity pulled out of the market. And then you've got the Ethereum and all the cryptos taking a big hit now. It's all these things connect. So we really don't have time to sleep through it if we're going to keep this puzzle moving forward. That's kind of us. We love it. We're here for it. Always excited.
I have a question to you. So you say you have a team, that helps you. How does your team looks like? Is it like, how do you choose your staff and how do you split them up? Like how big it is? I'm just curious for a lot of people who are probably curious to manage a team. It's not a simple task. I know it because I am managing a team for 6 years now, maybe even 7 almost. And I'm doing it from remotely as well. So what are the best, tips or tricks for managing a team or even one person or two that can help you in delegation and running those multiple, tasks that you have per day? Just curious.
I think it comes a lot with experience helps, but I think learning to let go in a leadership role is extremely important. Understanding how to, trust in yourself to the point where you know how to hire or bring in and have that environment of people that you can trust to elevate you guys and move you forward and are true experts in their field. We look for the best of the best, and that just doesn't come with, experience necessarily. It comes with the energy. It comes with passion. It comes with, just a drive to want to think out of the box sometimes. Different things, different avenues or different positions attract different people, and we're
Well,
lucky
different
in this field.
industries also. Ari, we can also add different industries that were involved, right? So not every team is the same, right? For the NFT space as to
No, but
and
let's focus on the
cannabis
NFT
edibles.
stuff.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah,
exactly. But
it's different everywhere.
we're here just kind of focus on that. It's actually traditionally easier in the other parts of the world because you don't have a whole community. Like you want to talk size team, we have probably 10 plus just community team leaders that run different sectors, whether they're involved with audio visual or events within the community, events outside, working within our Twitter spaces, working on the liaison with our game partner at Bridgeverse, things like that. So that's just the community side. Then you've got your devs, you've got your, the back end. You have the PR marketing side of things, the digital art that's constantly got to be in creation, innovation, product development, just building the structural relationship, being on these spaces, for example. This is it is all fun. It's something we enjoy doing, but it's also a way of getting to meet new people and expand our own network and of course provide some bunny buddies exposure. You don't see me up here with my RENFT logo and face and stuff like that. I'm here representing the company and the brand, and that's what we're here for, right? That's I kind of in essence lost my own presence over the last couple years over here, from this transition. My RENFT in my let's say the clubhouse world is not the same over here. I'm bunny over here. That's it. Nobody cares about RENFT in this world, and
I care.
well, it's not about that, but the reality is I care too.
I don't
But
care. I
truth
don't
is,
care. Sorry.
it's all about bunnies to me. I literally eat, breathe, and sleep bunnies. So reality, that's what it is. Like, what else would I want
Don't
to be
eat
doing?
bunnies, man. Stop talking about eating bunnies.